awayithandi awayifuni
Yo NUMSA
ayiwafuna amaphutho asiwafuna amakapeta
Hey, and it's me, it's Pax, and I'm back. We're back for more episodes of Workers' Power. And this year, we are kicking it off with interviews with NUMSA officials. One of the first officials that we're interviewing is Comrade Frederick Mabasa, who is the NUMSA National Organiser. Now, one of the burning issues affecting our members is particularly in relation to PUTCO. I'm sure some of you are aware of PUTCO bus as a transportation company rather. Well, unfortunately, PUTCO is a very brutal employer, and Frederick is going to tell us more. Comrade Frederick, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Workers' Power.
Yes.
For our viewers who don't know, Comrade Frederick is the national organizer at NUMSA. And you've been working at NUMSA for some time, by the way.
Yeah, I've been working for NUMSA for the past 8 years. I joined NUMSA on the 1st of October, 2015.
Wow. Okay, no, great.
Yeah.
So, Comrade Frederick, the reason we have you here today is because we understand that there is a campaign coming up at PUTCO.
Yeah.
And PUTCO obviously happens to fall into your sector as the national organizer.
Yes.
What's going on at PUTCO?
Thanks very much, Comrade Pax and everyone. Look, the reason why we want to have a campaign against PUTCO is because you will remember back in 2020, there was a collective agreement that was signed in the bargaining council in terms of the salary increase of the workers. Now, PUTCO decided to apply for an exemption, claiming that they don't have enough money. But of course, as a union, we went all out to prove to the exemption body to prove that PUTCO do have money they can afford to pay employees. Now, of course, the ruling came in our favor, and PUTCO was then compelled to pay employees what was due to them, in particular the salary increase and a bonus. Now, subsequent to that, in 2022, workers embarked on an unlawful and unprotected strike into depot, which is Dobsonville Depot, and which is situated around Soweto, and the other depot is around Pretoria, which is Roseville.
I remember that. That issue was because they were angry over the fact that PUTCO was refusing to just pay the increase, right? They kept pleading poverty and going to the exemptions committee, etc.
Yes, that's what PUTCO was saying. And we managed to peruse their financial records. We managed to put our case before the exemption body to prove that PUTCO, they, in fact, during COVID, you remember 2020, there was COVID, PUTCO was getting money from the government almost every month, even during lockdown. And
so even when the buses weren't working,
were not operating,
they were still getting their money?
Yes, they were getting 60% of the subsidy. Now, and we said, PUTCO, prove to us, where did you send this money to? Because the government confirmed that they did pay you. Why did not pay that particular money to the employees? Because that money is meant to cover the operational cost, and operational cost include the salaries of the employees. So basically that was the issue. Now, workers, of course, embark on an unprotected strike, and after that, then we intervene as a union together with the CCMA, and we managed to reach an agreement that everybody will then go back to work. More than 2,000 employees were on that particular strike. But before the strike was concluded, PUTCO decided to terminate around 105 employees. And we then said, PUTCO, it's not fair. But they emphasized that there are people who committed misconduct during the strike. They want to take a disciplinary action against them. And we said, okay, it's fine. But we don't trust your HR department who are responsible for the disciplinary hearings. We proposed that the matter should be handled by CCMA, and PUTCO agreed. Now, 140 employees were placed on suspension with full pay. Now, out of 140 employees, around 120 employees are NUMSA members. Then the other 4 unions, they share that particular 20 employees who were on suspension. Now the case have started in 2020 around October.
Okay.
And we are still continuing even now. But other unions, because of the number of their members, they managed to finish their cases last year. But because NUMSA, we have got bigger numbers, we are still continuing with that particular case.
So
now,
this case has been dragging now for roughly how long?
It's nearly 15 months down the line, because workers were suspended in September 2022.
Okay.
And we are now in February 2024.
Okay.
So they are on suspension with full pay. Now, while workers were on suspension, PUTCO started to declare a war with our members.
In what way? How were they declaring the war?
The war was based on that employees were then compelled to, those who are on suspension with full pay. PUTCO said, we are going to change the condition of suspension.
Meaning?
Meaning you don't have to stay at home because you are on suspension with full pay. You must go and report it to PUTCO premises almost every day from 7 o'clock in the morning until 4. And we asked PUTCO, but if you are saying these people must then go and report, allow them to go back to work. They will attend the hearing while they are working. They said, no, we don't want that.
So let me understand you.
Yeah.
Workers are suspended. The allegation is that it was misconduct.
During the strike, yes.
Now, in any other company, when you are suspended, you would sit at home and then you would attend the hearings.
Exactly.
But PUTCO is saying, we don't want you to sit at home.
Yes.
We want you to come to the premises.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yes.
To do what?
For their job is to go and sit. And what?
To sit and do what? To prove to the employer that they're not working? I mean, that just sounds ridiculous. Exactly.
Exactly the point. The people who are suspended are coming from 2 different depots. The company get a place around Pretoria, they call it Zandfontein, where they are fixing buses. They get a cage where our members are compelled to sit in a cage almost every day, from morning up until in the afternoon. And the worst part is that those workers are not allowed to use the ablution facilities, toilets, water, and so forth. They allocate a JoJo tank special for them. They allocate toilets special for those particular workers.
So it's almost like PUTCO management is imposing its own kind of punishment on these workers. Because I mean, what else are you going to call it? If you're going to take workers, sort of limit them, force them to remain in a space that is closed off. Yeah. They're not allowed to use decent toilet facilities. They're not allowed to move from the space that you have allocated to them. I mean, it sounds almost like a prison of sorts. And I think that's what we said in our statement.
Our members are saying, look, yesterday I was sitting with some of them. They're saying, oh, tomorrow we are not coming to the inquiry. We are going back to prison. They call it prison because they don't allow to use any other facilities that are used by those who are working. Those who are on suspension, they use their own facilities. They don't allow to mix with other people, and that surely it's not fair.
There was discrimination.
Exactly the point. There was a time whereby those workers were expected to use the bucket toilet. We issue a media statement up until they decided to change those particular toilets.
Sure.
And like now it's hot. Today it's almost 32 degrees hot. They are forced to drink water from the JoJo tank.
Imagine.
Where does this JoJo tank situated on the south?
My word.
It's very bad. So
it's inhumane.
We are calling it that PUTCO, they've declared war with the workers. Now, one may ask a question, what is it that we are doing as a union? We confronted PUTCO, we raised these issues, but I can tell you that PUTCO, they don't care. PUTCO, they are using lawyers to fight with NUMSA big time.
So clearly this case is going on.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice. We've got to follow the process. And I think, it's frustrating. These processes can be frustrating. They're delayed. They take long.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, because there is this burning issue of workers at PUTCO, what is NUMSA doing to fight this issue of how PUTCO is basically, violating the basic human rights of our members? How are we tackling that?
As a union, of course, we have instructed our lawyers. Yesterday, I spent almost late in the afternoon signing some of the documents, affidavit, trying to oppose on some of the conditions that PUTCO, they are forcing us to do. And of course, we the union appointed another lawyers to make sure that they see whether can't we go to the labor court to challenge this. So that's what we are doing now. But what is more disturbing is that along the way, these workers, they don't get their salaries at the end of the day. If you don't report to that particular prison, you are not going to get paid.
Sure.
And if you are sick, you submit a medical report. I can tell you that we have got more than 20 medical certificate PUTCO they are refusing to pay.
Jeez. And I also heard about a situation about a woman who was pregnant, gave birth.
Yes.
And what happened with her maternity leave? The
lady, she gave birth around August, September last year. All of a sudden, PUTCO decided to say, look, you are on a maternity leave. The question is, how can you apply for a maternity leave while you are on suspension with full pay? You are sitting at home. What is more disturbing now is that during this particular inquiry, PUTCO have filed an application with the CCMA to, they ask CCMA commissioner to tell NUMSA not to call all the employees to lead their own evidence. They are saying out of 120 employees, we must call at least few individuals, maybe 10 workers who will be the witnesses. And we said that we are not going to agree.
But that's absurd, because you're basically saying to the union, don't do the work which is going to assist the CCMA to defend them, which is going to assist the union rather to defend them properly before the CCMA. Exactly. They must basically, sort of undermine their own case for the convenience of this brutal employer.
Exactly. The file that we are using at CCMA, they've got more than 100 pages. They submitted a lot of statements, a lot of video footages. And as a representative, you need to cross-examine the witnesses, challenging each and every evidence. And now PUTCO, they are saying, no, Frederick, you are delaying this matter unnecessary. We are spending money because we are paying these people almost every day.
Yeah, but they must spend the money. That's how it works. They suspended the workers. Yeah. And by the way, let's start at the beginning. They unfairly dismissed workers over an issue that was because as management, they were greedy. They didn't want to pay money that belonged to workers. So frankly, PUTCO, as far as we're concerned, doesn't have a leg to stand on. But going forward, there is a campaign that NUMSA has organized. Can you tell us about that campaign?
Look, what we have done as a union, we decided to sit down with the leadership and apply our mind as to how best are we going to do. One, we decided to organize a march to PUTCO head office at Limbro Park on the 16th of February. It will be on Friday next week. And we are going to hand over a memorandum outlining all these particular demands to the directors of PUTCO. And we are hoping the owner of the company, who is coming from Italy, he must be available in order to receive the memorandum. The complaint is all about that. We want our members to go back to work. We want our members, if they are on suspension with full pay, they don't have to sit at home. They don't have to go and report almost every day at PUTCO premises, almost every day. And we also demand that they must give us a space to defend our members. They don't have to dictate to CCMA that they must limit the number of witnesses that we are going to call. I'm representing 116 people. I'm going to call more than 50 people who are supposed to come and lead evidence over and above the number of 116 people. PUTCO, they are saying, no, we are not fair.
No, but I think what PUTCO is actually doing is they're trying to undermine our case so that they can justify more dismissals. I think that's what it looks like.
That's what they are doing. Up to so far, we have lost more than 15 of our members who are terminated because they were sick. There was a guy by the name of Ramagalel. He was sick. We had to adjourn the proceedings early at CCMA. We organized an ambulance. PUTCO decided to dismiss that person, saying that we don't know about your whereabouts. But they know very well that the man was sick.
My word.
There's a lady by the name of Catherine Chilis. She's a driver at Dobsonville. She was sick. We had to adjourn the proceedings early around December because the poor lady, she was sick. PUTCO decided to terminate their service, saying that we don't know about your whereabouts. Wow. So it's very brutal. But it's not happening to those who are not suspended. It's happening to only this. So what PUTCO is doing, they make sure that they put pressure to these workers so that they minimize the number of people who are on suspension with full pay. Sure. That's what they are doing. So, but of course, we are going to call upon the community. We are going to call upon the passenger forum. to come and give us. In fact, we want to, we call the community to boycott PUTCO buses. It does happen some years back, around early 70s, early 50s, where there was a campaign about the buses, that people must not utilize the buses. And we are going to call upon the community of this Gauteng province not to utilize PUTCO buses, because what they are doing to our members, it's very
shocking.
It's very disturbing.
Yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Workers' Power First. NUMSA will be launching a massive march on the 16th of February to the offices of PUTCO to expose the shenanigans of this brutal employer. Comrade Frederick, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, comrade. And we are looking forward to get the support from you. Thank you.
Remember to follow NUMSA Media on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share to as many people as you know.